Kevin, I know you guys have tremendous depth on your offensive line. If you guys had to play a game today, who would be, and everybody was healthy, who would be your starting center and who would be your starting left guard?
That would be the guy that goes out first.
Who are some guys in the mix there? Can you kind of give us your breakdown of?
Yeah, well, you got a really good player like Harry was limited with the minor shoulder thing. He did a bunch of individual work and was able to do some things, but what was, and he played a lot last year, so he's an inside player that didn't go. You got Matt Jones, who's played very well for us down the stretch last year. Harry played a lot in there, and then you've got the young guy Luke Whippler coming on. So there's some competition and depth at the center position. In the offensive guard world, you got Paris Johnson's playing guard, but could easily be a tackle for us as well. Trying to get him to potentially be one of the best 5 players. Harry and Matt both played guard, so you could be the second center, but you could be the starting guard. So there's a little bit of those inside guys. The center and guard's about the same for the most part. The center's got to handle the ball, a little bit more stress there. Josh Fryer, a young player, did very, very well for us at guard in the spring. So there's going to be, we lose Wyatt, we lose Josh, 2 quality players, but we got some talented young guys. So the bulk of the spring was a combination of Matt Jones and Luke at center. And it was Josh Fryer and Enoch playing some guard, Josh Fryer, Ryan Jacoby playing some guard with Paris. And then at the tackle spots, you got Thayer, you got Nick, you got DeJuan Jones doing well. You got the young players in Zen, Ben Chrisman, Grant Toutant. So there's a lot of competition. And you're going to need about 8 guys that you can win with. Again, like I think I said this earlier, but when we play in the national championship team, I think the guy that won the Remington Award wasn't playing, and the backup center had to play well enough for our opponent to win. And that's what we're going to need. We're going to need, more. We got some depth. We get more than anything. Hopefully, we have some great competition, great camaraderie. Thought Stud did a great job with those guys this spring. Thought they had an awesome spring. I think it's one of the better units of our football team.
Thank you, Coach.
All righty, well, let's go next to Tim May from Letterman Row.
Thank you very much, Mike. I was wondering, Kevin, as you watch Treyvion Henderson, just specifically him, I know all those running backs are competing and stuff, but as you reviewed the tape of him through the spring, what just jumped out at you about him? And do you see him clearly playing a role this fall?
Yeah, again, I think if we go through a summer and he continues to develop and enhance and stay healthy, but continue to get stronger from a durability standpoint, we did a fair amount of contact. I thought Coach Day was very, very smart and in the back and forth of when it was tackle days and when it wasn't, how much was shoulder pad practice, and how much was a lot of perimeter and passing and all that. So I think our team did a lot of contact, and it was a physical spring. I thought Ryan did a great job of having the balance to keep the guys fresh. So now you got a young freshman, and these next we're getting ready to take about a 2-week break here. Guys get back here middle of May, and they'll get on a 6-week run with Memorial and 4th of July break, and then a July run. And what you're trying to do there in that period, Tim, is not only get stronger, not only get faster, not only get in shape, but you're trying to get your body, you're trying to get your mind, and you're trying to get your soul hard enough to be a great practice player every Tuesday, Wednesday. And I think for a guy like Treyvion as a young player, he's going to be talented enough to have a role. That role will be enhanced like all these players we're talking about with their durability and their dependability, and their body holds up. I thought Treyvion was very good with the football, which most running backs are that are talented like him, but he really impressed me as a young player stepping up in pass pro, taking on some of our linebackers and the blitz pickup periods that we did. And he caught the ball, you saw in the spring game, very well out of the backfield. So for a young player that sometimes it takes a lot of time to get really good at pass protection, to get really good at route running. For a young player, he handled some of those things very well starting out. Not a lot on his plate yet, but he handled it well, and he's a talented player, and he should have a positive role. And as always, we're talking about the line, you're going to need really about 3 backs that can play championship football for us. So we're going to need a combination of him and Master and Mayan and Marcus Crowley, Steel Chambers, Evan Pryor. We're going to need 3 or 4 of those cats to play high end for us this year.
Your soul, huh? That's interesting.
You got to get your soul right, man, to go out there every day with the right kind of spirit to practice now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Always have a good soul, Tim. Now, all
No,
great
no.
players have, and it's not the sole of their feet. They have a great soul internally to get your mind and body hard to play championship football. Great player, great teams, great players, great practice teams, and they do it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And what we're getting ready to go through right now is get ourselves ready to be a great Tuesday, Wednesday team. So on Saturdays we can play the way our fans and the way we expect to play.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All righty, next up, Austin Ward, Letterman Row.
Kevin, what made G. Scott a candidate for you at tight end?
Well, it came from he. I think he and his dad had thought about it, and with his size, I would kind of joke around a year ago when he showed up, like, hey, you keep, put an extra patty on that cheeseburger there and make it a double, and we can make you a tight end real quick here. He's going to run routes well. He was limited with a hamstring injury that wasn't major, but did limit some practice. I'd love to have had him on the field a little bit more. So he's going to need a great summer, but his skill set in the passing game will be well. And it's our ability to help him understand and physically gain some weight and strength. It's going to be a developmental process. He'll be at some point as we start August, and we'll see how we can enhance and use his skill to complement the position and complement the offense. And then it'll evolve through the fall, next off season and next year that, because again, we're basically asking these guys to play a little bit of left tackle and a little bit of wide receiver. He will be very comfortable in the receiving game and the matchups there, but we don't want him to go on the field and always be a guy that now we're throwing the ball because he's in the game. He needs to be very competent in the blocking game, and we'll be very smart in trying to develop him, but also put him in matchups where he can gain confidence in the schemes and the plays that are called and the formations that he's in, play to his strengths. But over time, hopefully he'll get strong enough and big enough to, right now he's in the low 220s. So we'll need to get him hopefully by 230, 30-ish, 32, 35 by the fall. And maybe a year from now, 40 couple, he's a 240, 45 pound guy and be a much more complete player. Excited to have him though.
All right, we'll go next to Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Kevin. What did you see out of the quarterbacks this spring that was encouraging, and what did you see that needs to improve before any of them are ready for the fall?
Encouraging in that I think they all have the arm strength and the arm talent to make a lot of throws that we like and need to make. I think the offensive line, I think the tight end group will complement the line. I think the running back position will be good enough to hopefully we can be a solid running team. We've been a pretty good running team. We've been one of the stronger run teams in the conference and in the country. And if you can run the ball well, then you force the defense maybe to load up a little bit more, and then you get those one-on-one plays. And when you got the receivers that we have, the ability of the quarterback to get the ball and target those guys. So I think their ability to throw the football is very nice. I think they all actually move better than most people think. They're not pure drop back guys. They can extend plays. They can scramble around and make a little chicken salad when the chicken's not there all the time. They can run a little bit of zone read, quarterback run game when you need them to run the ball. Even though they're not elite runners, they're athletic enough. So I was impressed with their skill set of throwing, their ability to move, but they all need to play where they can recognize coverage and distribute the ball. So the shortcomings is that they're young. Sometimes you got to flop around. Sometimes, what you're seeing on the videotape is different than what you see on the field because now you're at ground level and the people coming at you, and how do you see and how do you process? So they need to play. And I think you guys know this. It's hard when you have three really good players to get three guys the reps you need. So we got to be very creative in how to do that. You want to be very fair and give them all a chance to develop, give them all a chance to be potentially the starter. But again, like I've said, it's several positions. You're going to need more than one. They just need to play. And I know Coach Day and Coach Dennis will do a great job with them.
All right, we'll go next to Jared Smalley, WCMH.
Hi, Kevin. I'm sure you probably are aware of this. There were some proposals thrown out this week that we learned about from the Rules Committee about potential changes to practice structure for next year, including a reduction in contact practices. I think the old number was 21, and they're looking at 8. How does that affect a preseason practice? The way that you want to play in the first game, if that rule does in fact pass, how would it affect the preparation?
Well, I think over time, in the last 5, 8, 10 years in general, I think the majority of programs, coaches, position coaches, coordinators, head coaches have changed the way practices in preseason have been done, because the ability for the body to be durable and to come back the next day in practice and the next day in practice. So I think we've all gotten pretty creative. I do think because we are playing a contact sport, there's got to be enough contact that, you know, a player learns how to hit, learns how to safely hit, but learns how to take a hit, and how to protect himself, how to run with a football and minimize risk, how to make a tackle. So there's going to be some give and take, and if there's reduction in the amount of contact, it's going to force coaches, I think, to be very, very creative in non-contact days to still teach guys how to block and tackle. And you know, our players would tell you that sometimes when we are practicing and we don't have our pads on, it's sometimes maybe more physical and dangerous than when we have pads on, because you're kind of going full go, not taking guys to the ground, but those linemen are up there and, you know, helmets hitting you in a collarbone, and it kind of stings, it kind of bruises a little bit. So, you know, we just got to be smart in how we protect guys, because at the end of the day at Ohio State, you know, we're very fortunate. A lot of you guys cover us in recruiting. We recruit a lot of talented players, but this sport is a developmental sport, and you have to develop. And it's not just weight room develop. It's development of the skill set. It's development of the discipline to be a great player. And whatever those rules are, we're going to have to follow those, but we're going to have to be very, very crafty in how to continue to enhance and develop these players to, because at the end of the day, it's window dress, but it's still blocking and tackling. And the really, really good teams block and tackle. And in the championship game last year, we didn't block and tackle as well as our opponents. So the ability to teach and enhance that's the key to being a great team. And we'll follow those rules, but we got to become really good playing the game with the proper pad level. So it'll be interesting to see how that moves as we go forward.
All righty, we'll go next to Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Hey, Kevin, it's come out that Justin Fields is managing epilepsy. You talked about soul. How impressed have you been with the way he managed that and kept things going?
Yeah, you know, I personally didn't really, you know, cross that or was a part of that. You know, was aware. Again, I've just been impressed with him since he's been here from the first day. The way he came in and tried to, one, just earn the job with no expectations. Didn't try to come in and be the team leader day one, tried to just be the quarterback. Over time, became a great team leader. Over time, was awesome in the weight room and very consistent. Coach Mick would tell you, for a quarterback, one of the best weight room workout guys he's ever had. He's been great for us on the practice field. You guys saw the clip against Michigan State where he takes off and he bursts downfield for 40 or 50 yards to make a block there when Trey Sermon is scoring a touchdown. We could pull out clips in practice where that was daily in the way he practiced. So I've just got he's an unbelievably talented player, but I think he's an unbelievably gifted young man. And the way he managed that is, I think, the way he's managed a lot of things in his life. And he's going to have a phenomenal opportunity to be a great pro player. He's been an awesome Buckeye. I love him to death and I wish him nothing but the best. And I just got a lot of respect for not only the way he managed your question there with epilepsy, but just the way he came in has managed everything since he's been here. He's been a great teammate, been a great team leader. He's a tremendous player. He's a man I have a lot of respect for.
Okay, next up, we'll go to Bill Landis with the Athletic.
Hey, Kevin, you guys showed a fair amount of the counterplay in the spring game, and I don't know if that's just a spring game thing, trying to keep it basic, or is that something that you're looking to maybe expand in the offense, and what do you like about that as a complement to the stretch play?
Well, I know the one site draws up our plays a lot, and I just felt in looking at it, they hadn't done the counter in a while, so I thought this summer would be a great project so they could tweak their visios and their deals, and just really thought it would be a phenomenal deal for the summer guys, because they couldn't copy and paste, Bill, just the previous stuff. They actually had to draw some new things, had to really do a little bit more research. And as the weather breaks and golf season approaches and the pool time and the lake and the fishing time comes, I figured those guys need a little bit of work. So we thought it was a great opportunity to do that. So I don't know, we've always ran the counter, Bill. The problem is, how many plays can you emphasize? And in the run game, it's hard to get really good with all the formation variations. It's hard to get good at more than about 3 or 4. And sometimes that play's always been like play number 4 or 5 or 6 on the menu when it came to practice. So we just, in spring thought we'd just try to practice a little bit more. Thought with, Mitch Rossi is a hybrid fullback and Cade Stover. So sometimes we're doing the counter play, not with just the guard and tackle, but with the guard and the second puller is like the tight end. I thought it fit those two guys a little bit. And so we didn't do it a lot. We did it the last couple of weeks. And because we did it at the end, we ran in the spring game a couple of times.
All righty, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Kevin, this quarterback competition, I guess, like a couple of years ago and in the past, we'll go into summer and camp and all. What's the value, kind of a value? What do you guys is the biggest value from watching guys from spring to summer to fall and kind of making that decision much later?
One, their performance, and two, I think they're not only how they perform, but do the guys around them rally and perform, and they make the players around them better. They're able to distribute to the ball to the playmakers we got. So, I think again in spring, I think you saw they all did well. You guys saw some of the practice, saw some of the spring games. We mixed it around pretty evenly. I think we can look at the statistical numbers from the spring game if you just want to look at numbers. And I guess Jack didn't maybe have statistically as good a day as the other, but still had more passes. So we tried to, didn't change we play a little bit to their strengths, but they're all about the same. So it's not like, hey, call this play because CJ's in, call this play for Kyle. We just kind of call the plays. So maybe that hurts those guys, but we didn't really get into specific, emphasize certain things for certain guys. Let's just run the offense that's in for now and see how they can manage it. So I think you go through summer and see how that enhances. We get limited in summer with being on the field with them when they're throwing the football. We don't do a lot of throwing because we like to do a lot of development of Coach Mick. And if they're doing a lot of lifting and running for Coach Mick, and then we're doing a lot of running when they're doing 7-on-7 on their own and they're at risk for injuries. So yeah, we got to be smart. So they need time, they need practice. I guess we'll just see how the summer evolves, and does anyone really take off in summer? We'll be limited to what we see in summer. So I guess you don't know the preseason. Typically that gets a couple weeks of preseason before it settles out. So, we'll see. They're all in the mix and they're all going well, and they all got a lot of work to do. And it's obvious that they're talented, but they need to work, they need to play, and we just got to keep battling through that.
All righty, Coach Wilson, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it today.
Hey guys, have a great summer. Appreciate y'all. See ya.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to click on that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing, and come visit us over at BuckeyeGrove.com for all the best Ohio State information on the web.